Yep, and we are live. So, everybody, welcome to podcast 3 of Far Cry 5. So, we're just talking about Far Cry 5. There's a few people in the chat already. So, we're going to start off with the intro. For those who don't know, I am Kemet1976. I have a YouTube channel of the same name, and I am also on Twitter. Leslie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the Lazy Mapper, and I make some maps on Far Cry. I have a same name, the Lazy, and we have Slim with us too, right?
Hello.
Yep.
What's up?
So we've got Slim here in the building.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shame that we don't have a fallen champ. Obviously he's tied up at the moment, and I'm sure he'll join us whenever he can. But obviously not today. I'm hoping that the audio and everything is correct. So we'll just get into it. So the topic for today is Far Cry 5 has been pushed back from February to March 2018. So what do you guys think about that? About Far Cry 5 being pushed back?
I think it's, I guess, a good thing as long as they use that time to maybe work on stuff we care about more. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, they've already released some single player stuff, and single player seems fine. So I hope that's for the map editor.
Right.
Yeah, the same here. As a person who makes maps, you always see like you need some improvement. So, I think us mappers understand that these games do take a lot of time. So I would rather them work the bugs out myself.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely I'm definitely for. I'd rather them delay the game and work the bugs out than release a broken game. Even though that I think even when they release it, there's going to be some issues at some point. We'll definitely find issues without question. So with that being said, do you want to talk about the map jam, Lazy?
Well, I hope they continue it. I enjoyed the map jam. I seen contests in the past. Of course, all contests to me can be controversial, and I really think they're doing a good job. They also had runner-ups in the first map jam, and
They didn't have in the second.
Yeah, I was hoping they would consider doing it again, at least the runner-up part, because a lot of people, wonder who won and why they won, or who didn't make it and what the reasons were. I always wonder why myself. So I thought it was great that they did it the first time, and I was hoping they would continue that process, and they continue with the Far Cry, map jams again.
Yeah, we need consistency. You can't just say, "Oh, here's 2 map jams," and I'll talk about another one. Same thing with runner-ups. You need to if you have runner-ups the first time, they did say they were going to do runner-ups for the second one, but it never happened. So,
well, the map jams wasn't something that I sort of got into, so I didn't really know what had happened with the map jam contest or anything like that. But from what I have heard, I think they should have been consistent with it, really and truthfully, especially if they're, advertising their game off the back of those map jam competitions to keep people interested for the next iteration of the game,
Yep, I guess we'll see. Just keep maybe this delay will allow for more map jams before the game comes out.
Yeah, maybe this delay, they're all sitting around trying to figure out.
So is there anything else that you want to talk about regards to the map jams contest?
We want more map jams.
More map jams. I'm sure there will be more map jam contests probably on the release of the game, and if not, I can't see it being before. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they said they were going to do more.
Yeah, they said they would do more, and this what's Far Cry 4? At least they were 2 years old, and it really got a lot of people back into it. So I thought it was a great idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a video came out a few weeks ago. A YouTuber called Johnny2 Fingerz. That's Johnny, the number 2, and then Fingers with a Z at the end. He came out with a video titled Far Cry Map Editor Speculations and Brief History, where he talked about the community, the map editor, and the lobby system that we had from Far Cry 2. What did you guys think of that? What he was talking about? Because I felt like he was talking exactly, he was saying the same things as I was saying.
I like his opinions in general. And he was a good map editor, too. I remember his name from a while ago, didn't he? He built some good maps.
Yeah, I remember on Far Cry 3, he had like really nice structures and stuff in his maps, and he seemed like a really nice guy when I briefly talked to him. And I had come across this video, and I told Fallen Champ about it. I said he really hit the nail on the head from what I talked to other mappers and how they felt that the series of Far Cry was going with the editor.
Mm-hmm. So for people who don't know, what I will be doing is hopefully this will be recorded and put on the YouTube channel, and there will be a description to his channel, Johnny2 Fingerz, in the description for people who haven't seen it. It's a really good video. You should take time to check out his channel whenever you can. He doesn't just do Far Cry; he does a few other bits and pieces. But he's only just sort of come back into sort of like releasing videos every so often. But he's active at this particular moment, so do check that out. So yeah, Johnny2 Fingerz was literally talking about the community and how things changed from Far Cry 2 to Far Cry 3. Because we all thought it was, it was kind of abysmal what Ubisoft did with Far Cry 3 and the lobby system. They killed it. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as to say that they destroyed the community.
Yeah, and the people who didn't leave at that time left when they had that map jam. Map jam that they had in Far Cry 3. That's when I left.
Not only that, I mean, after a week of Far Cry 3 kit coming out, a lot of players went back to Far Cry 2. I know, because I was one of them.
Yeah, I went straight to Trials.
Yeah, a lot of people did go back because of the lobby system was robust. You could, invite people in. You can host a list of maps. And as a person who plays maps, as myself, you could go in and see all the hosts. And then you could pick, I know this guy hosts a lot of great maps, so I'll jump on him and see who's in his lobby and stuff like that. In Far Cry 3, that was not there. You can't see who's hosting the map. You had to invite somebody in. And then when you actually did get somebody in your lobby, when you went to start the map up, people would get kicked out. There was something wrong with the internet connection. And from what I heard, this was across the board on all systems, not just on the Xbox. I heard it was on PlayStation also, and the PC. So they never fixed it. A lot of us were hoping that they would patch it, and they never did. They never fixed that lobby system.
The multiplayer was unfortunately an afterthought.
Yeah, exactly. And in the community that was trying to survive, people got tired of it and left. And I don't blame them.
I thought that. Yeah, go on.
That's what Johnny basically says in his video, and he did a really great job of explaining that to people who maybe didn't play the past Far Cries, didn't understand what we're talking about.
I kind of felt that as a matter of fact, it's not even felt. It's something that I know. I say that Ubisoft did not do their research. Now, I remember when they announced that they were working on Far Cry 3. There wasn't a release date at that time, but they were working on it. Now, a lot of people like myself, went into the forums and we discussed some of the things that we should keep in the Far Cry. Now, obviously, for sure, they didn't listen. They didn't listen. Not when it came to the multiplayer. They did not listen at all. They went ahead and they did what they wanted to do. We didn't mind it for the campaign. The campaign wasn't a problem because
it was good.
Yeah, the campaign was great. It wasn't an issue, but they've got to understand, that when it comes to multiplayer, these are people who are investing their time in the game. There are some things, that if as you said, Lazy, if it's not broke, do you know what I mean? Why try to fix it?
Call of Duty understands that.
Yeah,
if you don't like it, they just keep on doing what they're known for,
Yeah, no, they literally killed it. They didn't do the research. They weren't listening to the hardcore community. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of fell apart from Far Cry 3. And I mean, for me, I stayed about 2 weeks. Things that they should have fixed, they didn't fix, and I'd left. Do you know what I mean? And never went back again. And I heard that they didn't even fix anything even after I left. I think they said some sort of patches, a few patches or something like that. From what everybody else was telling me,
We were talking about this earlier, but the two of us, Lazy and me, we stayed a little bit longer, and it did not matter.
No, it didn't. Me and Fallen Champ did recently play some Far Cry 3 maps on the Xbox One, which you can do because it's backwards compatible. And we didn't have any problems getting into the lobby system, but it was only like, I think it was 3 or 4 of us. So we didn't have it filled like, when it first came out. But we didn't have any issues whatsoever this time. Not sure why. Maybe the Xbox One, has something to do with it. But we did have problems trying to emulate, because it emulates the 360, and we had trouble getting into the dashboard of the 360 that is emulated in the Xbox One, which you have to hit the select and start button. I'm going to try and get a video out later with us playing a couple of the custom maps on Far Cry 3 through the Xbox One, but I'm not sure if they fixed it or what. But we didn't have a full lobby system. That could have been a.
So yeah, I mean, so obviously, again, we talk about Far Cry 3, sort of killing off the multiplayer system, and then Far Cry 4 comes along and totally destroys it.
Well, it removes it completely.
It removes it. Yeah, exactly. Just removes it completely.
Single player map, for some reason, we're actually quite, good, honestly, but no multiplayer.
So let me do a couple of shout outs. I've had to refresh my Twitch page at the moment, so if there's any chat that's been going on, I can't see it, but what I can see is Steve Botter. Steve Botter, welcome to the chat as usual. So Steve Botter's in here. So glad to see he's here again.
Is he not here?
Steve Botter. Yeah, he's in the chat. I don't know how many other people are in here anyway, because like I said, I had to refresh my.
Reflex is in here. Mapede is in here.
Oh, that's great. So if there's any questions, guys, do put something in the chat so that I can see your chat as well too. Yeah. And if you've got any questions, Remo, hi Remo, that's great to see you here.
Hello.
So yeah, we talked a bit about Johnny2 Fingerz and how we all share the same sentiments with the community. Again, for people who've just joined us, check out Johnny2 Fingerz channel. It's the last shout out I'm going to give with that. I will put a link in the description when this video goes up onto YouTube. So yeah, that was a sort of like a video that he did with the brief the speculations, map editor speculations, and brief history. Right now we have a trailer that was released called Far Cry 5 Resistance trailer. What did you guys think about that?
It looks pretty cool. It's more Far Cry stuff, really. I don't notice anything,
Yeah, I was always in the editor, but after Voss and all, I started getting more into the single
That's
player.
true. Far Cry 3 was definitely a good single player experience.
And then when I thought Far Cry 4 was good, but not as good as 3. So I mean, this looks interesting. I mean, I like all the stuff I see. Some of the things that just came out are kind of funny with the testicle festival or whatever it's called, and the taco turkeys, and it looks like it could be a fun game.
Right, Steve Botter says, I'm hoping Far Cry 5 will feature some interesting MP modes. Not really a fan of DM. Perhaps they'll have Capture the Bible.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun game mode there.
Yeah. Capture the Bible instead of Capture the Flag or Capture the Diamond. Yeah, definitely. That'll definitely.
Yeah, you can even place the Bible in certain places too.
Yeah. So
that would be great. Actually,
yeah, that'd be really great. Or a game mode, where you sort of like pushed back each other. Do you know what I mean? You get like two. You'd start off on one side and you'd have to push back.
It's like Rush from Battlefield.
Oh, is it similar to Rush? Yeah, that would be nice. Do you know what I mean? You would think, you know what I mean, that there would be some sort of news about the multiplayer and the editor, but we've not really gotten any news from that. It's just really the main game. Do you know what I mean? So it's just waiting to hear that. I think it's they're leaving it a bit too close this time. Didn't they? Yeah. They did that last time where it was really close.
Yeah, it's starting to be like deja vu from like Far Cry 3. They waited last week or two talking about it.
I think Far Cry 2, like quite early, didn't they have a video of like people building maps? Like there was like the Eiffel Tower and stuff?
Yeah, they did. They talked about it extensively. Do you know what I mean? It was like they sold the whole game as a package. They didn't just come out with the campaign first and then talk about all the other aspects. I mean, we do know that there's an editor in there. We do know that it's going to be multiplayer, but we don't know. That's about as much as we know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't even know the game modes. It could be like Far Cry 3 with transmission.
So so we haven't even heard about the game modes or anything like that. That's in it. So we only really know more about the what do you call it? The main game, the main campaign. But the Resistance trailer. I think there was a part in there. I watched the trailer and I think is Cool Herc in there because I think there was a guy that kind of looked like Cool Herc that was firing a rocket launcher at some point.
Yeah, he did look like him. So I think he even had the bandana on his head.
But why is he there?
Because Cool Herc is cool, man. That's why it matters. Cool Herc.
Is he a time traveler?
Do you know what? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, Herc
maybe not.
He always did some funny stuff.
Yeah.
When you played him, and actually in co-op, usually you were Herc or something.
Yep. There was what do you call it? It seems like you have more people fighting on your side as well too. According to the trailer, like you've got more people that you can sort of like set.
Guns for hire.
Yeah, guns for hire. That's it. Yeah, guns for hire.
Yeah, it says I think if you free them, people will actually just join if you let them or something.
Right.
That sounds
I'll just take the dog.
Yeah, right.
just take the dog. So the other thing is as well too, the thing with the Resistance is the more you push, the more they push back as well. Do you know what I mean? So that seems really cool. The fact that you I think that was in. That was in the gameplay trailer as well too, because the Resistance trailer was only sort of like small. It was only like about a minute and something, I think it is. So, if anyone hasn't seen that trailer, you go to Ubisoft YouTube page, and you will find the Resistance trailer. It's called Far Cry 5 Resistance trailer. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Again, I will put a link to that in the video. And we have the new gameplay, which was about 4 minutes odd. I think it was Far Cry 5 gameplay in Holland Valley, where I believe that this campaign, Far Cry 5, has a larger map than the others. Does anyone want to talk about that?
Is it gonna be as detailed? The bigger you make a map in an open world game, the more there is to detail, the more there is to place, the bigger chance there is to have copy and paste missions.
I think this is a little bit more dynamic than Far Cry 4, as in the fact that if you have guns for hire and they go down, you've got to pick them up, or they can pick you up if you go down, and also the enemies as well too. If you down an enemy and you don't down him properly, you know what I mean, their comrades can pick them up. Do you know what I mean? Which I think is a really cool feature to add, because you don't just shoot them and then they're dead. Do you know what I mean? Or you don't just shoot them, and then they just sort of budge to the side like the bullet didn't even harm them. They go down, and the comrades pick them up. So it sets a whole sort of like new level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have to have like a new strategy too. You can't just shoot them and walk away, because their teammates will pick it up. The enemy bots or whatever, they'll help each other out, which is kind of a cool feature to have.
Yeah, exactly. That's a brilliant feature to have up. Like, I'm excited to see how that actually works, Some of the things in there, weapon skins. So you have custom weapon skins that you could probably earn in the game. So it would be nice to see how that feature works. So you have like custom weapon skins that are kind of unique to yourself.
It'd be cool if that carried over to multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Ubisoft, if you're listening, we need weapon skins that carry over into a multiplayer system, so that'd be nice. Also, I spotted a new animal in there, which was a wolverine, I believe.
I mean, it makes sense. There'll be a ton of animals because, it's a new place, right?
Yeah, true.
Obviously, there's probably gonna be bears. I would assume so. Like a bear in every Far Cry.
The thing that I like the most as well too is the fact that they've got more puzzles in there. So like in Far Cry 4, you had the towers, right? And didn't you have like you had some sort of puzzles where you had to find I think it was some sort of statues that made some sort of funny music sound or something like that. It's been a while since I played the campaign on Far Cry 4. But you did have like puzzle elements, like how to get up the towers and stuff, right?
You had to figure it out.
Right. Okay. Then in Far Cry 5, there's some sort of puzzle elements in here. It's not towers, but it's where you can find like secret places where there might be some hidden weapons, or there might be something hidden, some hidden secrets that you can find, in places, which I think is a nice feature that they've put in there.
All for that. And Far Cry 3, when it first came out, I actually liked all the like unique weapons you could find, and they weren't just skins; they were like cool, like legendary weapons. I mean, that was always fun. You had to like go in tombs and stuff. I think a long time ago, but yeah, this is my favorite part.
What about
I like hidden stuff.
So what about the races as well too? Because we've seen some races in that video.
I'm all for racing, but what about horse racing?
Horse racing. Is there any horses in the game? I don't know.
We haven't seen any.
I've not seen any. But I tell you what they could do though. Do you know how you've got like I seen one clip where there's a bull that chases you if you agitate it, I think.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to get on top of the bull and do some bull riding, just to see how long you could actually last on top of the bull before you get roasted.
Yeah, that would actually be fun. I haven't seen that either.
I mean, you would only last on top of there for like 2 seconds, Kenneth.
Yes,
so.
yeah. So like just as a little sort of like mini game and that. Yeah, you could have like
you roasted bull style. Right?
Yeah, so you could so you could have like competitions with your friends to see how long you can survive on top of a bull before it kicks you off its back, right?
Yeah.
A bit like the fishing thing. See who catches the biggest fish.
Oh yeah, fishing the best.
I like the muscle cars in here too. They look really.
Oh yeah, that kind of reminds me of a TV series called Dukes of Hazzard. Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of colourful. The way you go through those little, I don't know, they're like checkpoints. Do they have like colourful checkpoints with like
Yeah, with ramps and stuff. And fire effects. It kind of did look that. It would be interesting if they had skin for the car with Dukes of Hazards.
Yeah,
you make
different
maps
skins
like that. Actually,
yeah. That would be crazy, man. That would be really crazy. So with that, so it's nice to see some new gameplay trailer. But Ubisoft, we need the map editor. We need more on the multiplayer and how that works and so forth. I know you've only got a few months left now. Do you know what I mean? Before the game comes out, but do you know, people are anxious to hear about it. But I guess, you know, they have their reasons for pushing it back till March. I'm assuming. What else was there regards to that?
I noticed in the trailer too, the Mack truck, the big truck, looks like it has like gun turrets on there. That looks pretty cool.
All right. On
then on that big truck. It was driving through and it had gun turrets in the. So I wonder if that's like an add-on you could add to your vehicle.
The helicopter as well too. Like I'm liking the way that the helicopter's moving. But I think overall, I think this campaign does look really exciting and really good. And it's more grounded. If you understand what I'm saying, like it's not like in a faraway place, but it's sort of.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost more, but kind of crazy. Because whereas Far Cry 4 just seemed like some magical made-up place, where this is more grounded. You know, Montana, it's actual state in the United States.
Interesting. So, Slim, what do you think about the campaign mode? Do you reckon you'll get into it?
I played the campaign mode for all of them.
Oh, right, okay.
But you know what I prefer? I want the.
You're not going to give up on that, are you?
No. I want a good map editor and a good multiplayer system.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the single player. I think. Do I think the Far Cry single players are worth a full price? I mean, they're really cool stories in general. I think the single player may be worth $30 for me. I want to get my other $30 from the other stuff. Hopefully more than that.
See, the thing is for me, I mean, I know people will probably disagree with me, but the whole package itself, you know, you're talking about the main campaign, the multiplayer, and the map editing, the map editing system. But if you think about it, haven't we got we'll probably have a better editor in the fact of with games modes, you're talking about single player maps possibly, co-op maps possibly, because I'm sure they'll integrate the same thing in there. It's something that they've talked about, and multiplayer. So there'll be like different game modes in that. But what I'm saying is that the whole package together, including the campaign, there's no other game that does something like that. So even the game alone, if the game is large enough, is worth quite a bit of money for what they've put into it. So I think the multiplayer and the co-op and the editor is kind of like an add-on, really. I don't know if any of you guys would think so. I think for me, it's it's you're getting more. You know what I mean? You're paying
unlimited content.
Yeah, the content that you're paying for, yeah, they're giving out more than than what other games are. I believe that's just my opinion. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, plus the map editors are adding content.
I mean the amount of assets that they've got in these editors as well too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do a good job. It'd be nice if damn it, hold on. It'd be nice if they bring all the assets from Far Cry, like in Far Cry 3. The editor, we didn't get all these single player objects. It'd be nice if they gave us all of them. We only get part of them.
Well, I always say the more assets, the better. So it would be nice.
Far Cry 4, I think they gave us more from the game. And how many objects? We had a good amount of Far Cry 4.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of clean assets to make stuff.
Well, man, we only get what they have in the game. I think they don't make it. I don't think they make any other assets other than the ones that are in that game.
Yeah,
we get what they make.
So yeah, it would be nice, if they had assets from different games or something like that. Do you know what I mean? To put in there. So I don't know if they would charge you for it, or it might be free, like they.
Yeah, I'll be fine if. I mean, like I was saying, just all the assets from the game themselves. The Far Cry 5 game. Like if Far Cry 5 came out and we got all the same assets the developers used, that's fine.
I mean, do you know, it's kind of crazy as well too, because we don't. I don't. This footage is. I think isn't the footage that they're giving out at the moment. Yeah, isn't that PlayStation footage or is that PC footage? What footage?
Know. I mean, I would think most things are on PC, but I mean
to start off with.
I think it's PC.
Waiting on the editor footage.
I did see a video for PlayStation Pro. I think it's on the PlayStation Network, but I think mostly all this is PC. So if they update it for the Pro, they'll probably update it for the Xbox One also.
The one thing that sort of worries me is that when Far Cry 4 got released, the base Xbox and the base PlayStation 4 basically got a shitty version of Far Cry. Do you know what I mean? Because don't forget, they were sort of catering towards the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 at the same time. And it seemed like the PC version the editor was so much more better.
The budget and everything.
With the budget and everything, because you have on the PC you have an unlimited budget. Let's hope that there's the same thing again. Do you know what I mean? With
PC editors in general usually always have unlimited budgets.
But it kind of scares me, that nobody's they're not talking about, the difference between the PC version and the console version.
I don't know. I'm just getting the PC version, but I mean, I think most people already know I like the PC better, but console does matter.
I mean, I've converted to PC for sure. But I do have a lot of friends. I mean, for me, I will be sort of map editing on PC, but I will also be doing some stuff on the Xbox One as well too, because that's where most of my friends are.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, don't forget, I started from the 360, so I've
still
got a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
I've still got a lot of my friends that are still on the on the Xbox. So
now
can't work.
Everybody was originally on the Xbox 360. Now everybody's on PlayStation platform, PC, and Xbox. Everybody split up now.
Yeah, everybody did. It's good that we can all still talk, though.
Yeah.
The ones that are left in the way. So, Ubisoft, you need to bring them back because they're the ones who build the maps that keep people playing.
But I mean, we've only had in the last few months, even since Far Cry 5 has been announced and also pushed back, they've only given us little bits and pieces. We've had videos. we had E3, we had Gamescom. I think it was the Gamescom was in Germany. I think was it the Paris Games Show as well too. They showed a few bits and pieces. But it's the kind of like little teasers. So I don't know whether, you know, see, I kind of struggle. I kind of struggle with it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, again, it's like they've only advertised half of the game, and not the other half.
Yeah, exactly. But like Call of Duty, they'll talk about their single player. They'll have a trailer for it. Battlefield does the same thing. Most companies still talk about all the different, features they have in a game. And it's always odd that Ubisoft seems to, save the map editor for last, to like even mention it instead of try to build up momentum for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it did cause, because of that, it actually caused a lot of paranoia in the mapping community, because a lot of us felt that Ubisoft was trying to get rid of the map editor only because it only represents what was the percentage? Wasn't it sort of like something like I don't know, like 10% or 30% of the game. So cool. People who purchased the game or went on to sort of play the editor. There was only a small part of the community, so therefore it's not going to make. I mean, if we're talking about financially. People who represent the map editor or the mapping community is not enough for them to make a large sums of money. But then again, it's not just the map editing community's fault. It's their fault for not advertising it correctly and integrating it, within the main.
Maybe game. We'll see. Maybe in a few days. Hey, maybe we'll get info. Maybe we won't get info until the very last day.
I mean, as Kemet said, though, it's true. I've talked to a bunch of people who said that they didn't even know there was they never knew it was there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people people who jumped on board with Far Cry 3 was like a whole new community, and then same thing with like Far Cry 4. Like most of the people who played Far Cry 3 and 4, like the new people, they have no clue that there's an editor. I think more people were aware of it than Far Cry 4 because I think it had a better interface to look for maps, and even though you didn't have multiplayer, it had single player, and the single player worked well in the map editor. Yeah, I think more people are aware of it in Far Cry 4. I did see on some of the videos Ubisoft posted, I did see a few people mention the map editor, so that kind of gave me some slight hope that somewhere people are aware of it.
Well, if you notice, when they talked about Far Cry, when they first announced it, I forget what network, IGNA or whatever it was, said at the very end, and we hear there's a map editor included. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really, nobody went into details. Nobody said, hey, Far Cry's coming out, Far Cry 5, and guess what, folks? You'll be able to play multiplayer on it. Or, they never, it's like the last thing they want to talk about, if at all.
Yep. So it's like one of the things for me that's really important. As a matter of fact, there's in the chat, there's something going on with the audio. So I think Lazy audio keeps cutting in and out at parts. I don't know why that is. It might be some sort of connection, but anyway, One of the things that kind of worries me as well is, when they do come out with the map editor, the original creator is something that was kind of hidden within the system, within the UI, and it should be, as far as I'm concerned, the original creator should be there, and it should be prominent. It should be prominent for people to see. And it's so easy to copy somebody else's map and put it out as my own. Do you know what I mean? And then I end up getting more views than the original creator. Do you know what I mean? So they need to sort maps. They need to sort that out. You know what I mean? They need to fix that. They have to fix that. Because it's important, especially for builders like ourselves who spend quite a long time building maps. Do you know what I mean? It's seriously ridiculous how somebody else can take credit, yeah, for somebody else's map, and you would have thought, yeah, that they would have put that in, do you know what I mean? Yeah, or implement that properly in Far Cry 4, but they didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it took. I mean, you've got to go. You've got to actually click onto the map, and then you've got to look for more information, and then you've got to see
it needs to be on the
where.
main screen when you look at it. Yeah.
So it should be there. It should be there 100%. So that's you know that's the issue, and then the other issue that we've talked about regards to maps, yeah, is this flipping Jacksepticeye maps. You know, people low effort maps. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because I've never seen anything like it until Far Cry 4, where you go to a map here and you see all these Jacksepticeye maps here that is just the green grid. Starts off with the green grid with just loads of enemies just placed on them with tons of guns, invincible. You just go into the map. Do you know what I mean? And you know that's kind of crazy how that happens. And you've got people who spend literally months or weeks, yeah, building a map and taking time to, you know, to edit the terrain, you know, do custom builds and so forth. And you know, they get rated low. And talking of ratings as well too, there are actually kids playing this game and downvoting maps. You know, like ours, because they find them too hard. They want invincible maps.
How Trials Fusion does it, you know, I like bringing up Trials a lot in general, but how Trials Fusion does it is you can't rate a map unless you beat it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, obviously, if there was multiplayer maps, then you can't do that, but if they kept the single player for Far Cry 5, like single player maps, then yeah, you can incorporate that in there. Like make it so the rating menu doesn't pop up until you beat the map.
So one second, guys. Alpha Sergeant, nice to see you in here. He says he's at work at the moment, but he's listening in. So glad to see he's in here. So yeah, that's a thing, man. Those low effort maps, man. Like, what do you think, Lazy, about those low effort maps?
I just don't think they belong in the top rated maps. That's for sure. If there's no effort in them, they're not being used properly. The editor not being fully used. I think it's, you know, I'm fine with like space maps or anything that there's a lot of high effort put into the map. They're trying to use the map editor to be creative. You know, some people might not like every type of map, but as long as the editor put a lot of effort in there and there's a lot of challenge to the map, or at least some challenge, I enjoy playing the maps, and I just don't understand why there wouldn't be like some way that these low effort maps that looks like they spent little time, maybe like 2 hours or 3 hours making the map, and then it gets top rated. It's just beyond me, at least on the consoles, that is.
So what do you think of like, say for instance, like, because we're talking about this, yeah, and then you've got newcomers to the field who want to create maps. So don't you think, like, say for instance, you know, people like ourselves who do a lot of custom builds, do you think that newcomers would be intimidated by the way that we build maps? Because sometimes it would scare them off. You know what I mean? You know, maybe
I think that's like most people. I think most people get intimidated and think they can't build or do art or draw.
So what do you say? What do you say to those people who feel like, you know, especially newcomers, you know what I mean, who feel like
you need to advertise the map editor properly, and you need to be active about it. You need to do tutorial videos, or somebody needs to do those.
That's the thing too. YouTube's probably bigger than ever.
Right.
Tutorials.
Sorry, YouTube's bigger than ever.
Yes, I would say it's bigger than when it was in Far Cry 2, that's for sure.
Right.
So, you know, people can learn a lot from watching some videos from, you know, me and Kemet and Fallen Champ and all, who will probably make some tutorials to help people understand how to make some decent maps. And on top of that, like, there's some new people. I don't know how long they've been map editing, but Setho make some beautiful maps.
Setho just came out of nowhere.
Seth,
Yeah, major
Sepho,
talent there.
yeah, Sepho is a prime example, yeah, of, do you know what I mean? Somebody just coming out of the blue. But that's the thing. It's like once in, like, it seems that once in a generation you get one or two editors who just have that natural flow. Do you know what I mean? They can just get onto something and they can just know how to use it. Do you know what I mean? Like they have that natural ability to do that. That's kind of slightly different, but for people who want to learn, it should be a little bit more sort of like user friendly. But again, we're talking about a game that's 18 rated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a problem too, right there.
And this is the thing: kids should not be playing this game, but the editor is fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is fun with things. So if kids are playing this game, that I don't know how the rating system is going to work. I don't think there is ever going to be a perfect solution because I hesitate to come up with a good solution myself.
Well,
you know?
It's funny that you mentioned the rating system and kids playing it, but like for example, like modding, if you like mods on like Creation Kit or like on anything else, is people don't download a map or a mod because they suck at it. Nobody steals mods either.
Lazy Map put in the chat, yeah, the controls for map editing are intimidating. Yes, they can be intimidating. I think the controls are sort of more user friendly when it comes to the consoles, I believe. I don't know if that's true for everyone, but
maybe more user friendly. But it's still, if you learn how to use a map editor, mouse and keyboard is usually better in general.
Well, I'm learning that for myself. I mean, for me, mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
I prefer the editor. Yeah, I prefer the editor on the PC for sure. Do you know what I mean?
With the budget.
Yeah, with a large budget. Do you know what I mean? So that's a point, you know what I mean, for new players, and also on top of that, for new people who don't. I think that as well. What we can do as editors. Sometimes what we do is when we're custom building something, it can be very, very complicated. So I think what we have to do is, like, if we're doing a tutorial, it's best to just use the pre-built assets that they have in there. Do you know, instead of trying to show somebody how to build a house out of like wood pieces and fences and stuff like that. That is intimidating. You know what I mean? Or building a car out of knives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something like that.
An Alpha Sergeant 14. You know what I mean? Anyone that looks at an Alpha Sergeant 14 map, is just like, nope, I'm not doing it now. I'm not playing. Do you know what I mean? But like, if you use the pre-built assets now and you show somebody how to use pre-built assets, where to place them, do you know how to place a cooker inside the house, a sofa, and just the basic little things. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
And the terrain. The terrain is actually, mostly the same as each new Far Cry came out. There's not a big difference.
It's not a huge difference.
Besides the
Far Cry terrain is actually like the standard for like a lot of editors in general. Like that's how most people edit terrain. I don't think there's much more they can do to it except bigger like scroll bars or like erosions and stuff.
But I think, sorry, go on.
Like any hobby, it's trial and error, and you practice after a while. What I liked about the multiplayer is you could play a map with your friends, and then you see if your friends host your map again, and then if they don't host it, it wasn't good. So you learn right away that how to make different areas to go to, and if your map's too big in multiplayer, some people frown on that. It's like a trial and error thing with anything. You just try at it, and then if people like it, you'll notice that. And then you could get, some people that will review your map some people get mad about it, but you just tell them, hey, maybe work on this a little bit. I know that guy, Real Style X on PS4. He seems to be doing a lot of that stuff too. So it's good that watch YouTube, get some ideas also, and just play some maps.
I think generally, people who get on the editor just have fun with it. If you get stuck, yeah, there will be plenty of videos out there, guarantee that. And I suggest right now as well too, if you're new to the channel, if anyone is new to Twitch and is just tuning in or anything like that, or listening to this podcast, check out the what do you call it? I'm trying to think. The Facebook groups. There's a couple of Facebook groups. One of them's just been renamed. Was it Far Cry 5 multiplayer and map editor is one of them, and the other what's the name of
Far Cry map editors is the one that I usually go to.
Yeah, Far Cry map editors. They're the two Facebook groups that you should go to and ask a question, and anyone in there they definitely will help you in there. They're really good. They're really good with those two groups there for sure.
Yeah.
But it's I think it would be different it would be something if we could sort of make it easy for new map editors on the horizon. Making sort of like easy. It'd be interesting to see what Ubisoft do though with that. If they do release info with the map editor, it would be interesting to see if they, put some work out themselves, from the devs or anything like that. If they have any stuff that they want to put out, and advertise advertise the game,
Sure. You do need to advertise it more.
Especially the map editor and multiplayer,
which has been repeated throughout this whole podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody got a little hype when the map jams came, and there was going to be a map editor. So and now what? 2-3 months have passed or something.
Yeah, it's getting close. I mean, we're in December. They've literally got 3 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
3 months. In 3 months, they have not advertised the map editor. They have not advertised do you know what I mean? The lobby, how the lobby works, or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? They've only advertised the main campaign, which I think is a shame. They need to sell the whole package. Do you know what I mean? As a whole. So even if they don't do well with this one, the next one they come out with, that I think they really should do, and a lot of people have been talking about how the map editor, they should literally sell the map editor on its own, but again that comes down to finances, doesn't it? Really and truthfully, it depends on how many people want to buy the editor itself. Whether they would make money. But the thing is, if they sold it kind of like how Minecraft, how they sold it like Minecraft, or what's that game that you consistently talk about? Trials. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they sold it as a whole package, then things might be different. I don't know.
I think they could easily sell for like $29 or $19, depending how much they put into it or how many games.
But how many people are going to pick that up? But obviously, like, we're not just talking about the map editor alone, but obviously we're talking about the map editor with all the multiplayer systems built into that standalone. That means that it can concentrate on the game, the main game. So if they had the multiplayer and the map editor in one go, and sell that for what did you say was $30? Did you say something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they had that. And then whenever they do like a main campaign, like say for instance we had separate sort of Far Cry games like Blood Dragon and Far Cry Primal, which those two games didn't do too bad, did they, in sales? Do you know what I mean?
I heard Blood Dragon did great from what I heard.
Right. So that means that they can just concentrate on the main game, and then have the map editor, and then say for instance every game that they put out, they can have assets that's transferable into the map editor. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, we talked about this before too, that what's not broken, why do they try to fix it? So if they set up the structure already, sort of like Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft is what, 6-7 years old? They
Way
didn't
older, I
change
think.
well, they didn't.
Yeah, it came out on PC first before it was on consoles.
Yeah, they didn't change the formula though, and all they do is add up,
They update
new
it. Yeah, they
skins.
updated, give it new
Yup,
stuff.
that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all Far Cry would need to do with its editor.
Mm. So, but I mean, as I was saying earlier on, I think a lot of the community kind of paranoid. You know, there's this wave of paranoia now, where some of us believe that they're trying to sort of like take the map editor away from us. Do you know what I mean? Since they've gutted it, you know what I mean? They destroyed it and destroyed the community.
Yeah, Far Cry Blood Dragon, obviously was a spinoff. No multiplayer, no map editor. Far Cry 3,
It still sold well.
Yeah, and then people believed, it's a single player game. Map editor doesn't exist because Blood Dragon and Far Cry 3 had map editor issues. And then Far Cry 4 came out and there was no multiplayer.
And then Primal came out and there was none either.
Oh yeah. Forgot about Primal.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier on. I said that I said Primal and Blood Dragon single player. That's what I was saying. Like if they release the editor and the multiplayer system, in a different package, and then they can concentrate on the main games. And then obviously with every iteration of the game that they pull out, they can just sort of transfer assets, straight to things. So like say for instance, you had like Far Cry 6 or something like that. Any of the assets, if they use the same engine, do you know what I mean? They could just sort of transfer that, as packs that could be purchased. Do you know what I mean? In some shit, because I don't mind purchasing packs. Do you know what I mean? Purchasing asset packs. I wouldn't mind that, but they would have to have a system where, like, say for instance, if I bought an asset pack, and I use that in a game, that the player, the person who's downloaded the game, they can still see those assets and they still use those assets, but they can't actually sort of like use them in their own maps without purchasing them.
Unless they buy it.
Yeah.
Trials Fusion, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If you don't have the pack, you can't.
And that's the map. That's something that I'm sure that's something that they could possibly do. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure. As a matter of fact, doesn't Minecraft do that? Do you know what I mean? Because I know that I've bought some. There's packs that I've not bought, and I've gone into somebody else's map, and they've got like a skin. They've used a specific skin that I've not recognised. I'm thinking, oh, that looks really cool. What skin is that? And I can still sort of like go in there and see what skins they're using, but I can't. Do you know what I mean? Like until I buy it, do you know what I mean? It wouldn't show up on my own maps. You know what I mean? So I'm sure somebody could do something like that. Ubisoft could do something like that for sure.
Sure.
Something else that I want to discuss as well too is the relationship now between Ubisoft and the mapping community. Lazy, take it away, man. You got the floor, man, with that.
What did you want to discuss?
Like, what do you think about the relationship compared to how it used to be?
Oh, it's definitely better, but we haven't heard anything lately. And I guess that's why we're a little anxious now, because they had the map jams. They had Map Jam 2, which I thought was really, really great to get the community going again. Unfortunately, they didn't cover, who didn't win and why. And now we haven't heard anything. It's been quiet again. So I guess everybody's a little bit nervous about that.
We need another Map Jam.
We need something going. Especially after the delay too.
So
after December, you think, wow, February will be here really quick, and then they delayed it to March 27th, which I think is fine, but maybe they ought to have maybe another map jam or something to get people going, or at least release some information.
So who's mainly, you've got like a Far Cry community team, haven't you? Like Matthias, Who's there's another two? Is it Laureline? I think. How many? How many?
There's
How many?
like, I don't know. There's like 3.
Is it just those? Is it just those three? There's Laureline, Matthias, and
Ubisal or something.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Was Salvinius? Salvinius?
Yes.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I don't know his actual name.
right. Okay. So there's a few of them. Like how does it compare to like when Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4 came out?
I think a lot better. I think. But all of a sudden, it just kind of happened.
Because I think they're a little bit more enthusiastic. Answering our questions in the Ubisoft forums and stuff. And obviously there's things that they can't say. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not in charge. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what. Do you know what I mean? Like how they sort of like communicate with us in the future, especially the hardcore fans. Something that I've brought up, time and time again, and I think you would definitely agree with me, Slim, is DE, Digital Extremes. How they handle their fan base is second to none as far as I'm concerned. Because they have dev streams like once every month. They've just recently had a dev stream, and I think I missed it, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one.
Yep.
And they in the dev streams they talk about the fixes, talk about bugs, they could talk about new content, they give away platinum prizes, and this is something that they do every month. And don't they do?
And like a lot of the devs show up too, like 50 of them.
Yeah.
And whoever shows up, they get time off.
There's another feature that they have as well too. I'm trying to think what that is. It's they don't just have the dev streams. It's something else that they have. So I'm just trying to think what that is.
Some of the community managers stream every so often too, like every week.
They've are they like gameplay videos or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice that they're involved like that. I thought it was nice that PAX was playing some of the custom map. So, if they get more involved, it shows the community that, wow, they might be the end of it. Because in the past ones, we would say to ourselves, like I would say to Kemet, I'm like, do they see these maps? Do they actually play these things? You know what I'm saying? When you look at the top maps in Far Cry 4 consoles, I'm like, do they actually look at this? Because this doesn't look right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. It's called Prime Time. I think Prime Time, they do that every so often. Yeah, I don't watch Prime Time. Prime Time's not my thing.
Just some of the community managers, just enjoyable to watch. I think they give away prizes sometimes there too.
Yeah, I think they do it like every week or every 2 weeks or something is Prime Time, I think. I'm not sure how often they do that.
They also have a lot of different tournaments. Like Warframe doesn't have a map editor, but they have customization for your ship, for your characters. They had a tournament recently by $10,000 just for the first prize. It was showed at one of the recent events, in the one of the major events, not E3, but like PlayStation event or one of those. Yeah, they have a lot of tournaments. They have a tournament going right now where you like write a poem, and you win freaking $100 for doing that. They keep the community active.
I think that's something that Ubisoft should learn as well too, if it wants to keep close connections with its community. It's a nice it's a nice sentiment at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? To be able to, just sort of keep in contact, so we know. So there's not that, because right now it still feels like somewhat there's a slight disconnection. Do you know what I mean? With Ubisoft and its community. I don't know about any other games, but Far Cry needs it right now. After the disappointing Far Cry 3 and the disappointing Far Cry 4, although the sales wouldn't say that. Do you know what I mean? They sold quite a few games on the back of that, but I'm talking about its hardcore fan base. They need to do something more with its hardcore fan base. Do you know? It's really important that they have that thing. I think they'll get more love that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, just because the Far Cry map editing community only represents a small, part of their game, it doesn't mean to say that they should be left out. That's the minority. Do you know what I mean? And just cater for the majority. Do you know what I mean? It's a game at the end of the day. We're all supposed to have fun no matter what kind of game modes are in the game. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of cater for all. I think that Ubisoft will definitely be more respected, in my opinion.
I mean, the hardcore community are also the people who post on their forums. So their forums will be dead.
Also, on top of that, isn't it the hardcore community that sort of keep the game running, keep the game alive?
Yeah, I mean the multiplayer, single player part, at least, like the people playing maps after a single player. I mean the main single player game. Yeah, they keep the game running.
Mm.
Well, that's the whole thing too. Is when your friends say, "Hey, how's the?"
Sorry,
you know how they'll your friends or something from your Xbox or PC will say, how's the game, are you having fun in it? And you could say, yeah, it's great, the community's really for us, you know what I'm saying? It gets people spurred on when you have a hardcore fan base who says, yeah, this is awesome, you know what I'm saying? So when you say now, when Far Cry 3 came out and people were asking me how that was, I said, well, it's not working right, the editor's great and all, but you can't really host your maps, and you can't say anything positive except for saying, hey, well, I hope they patch it in the future. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing good you could say.
So that it seems like they've got a few months to book up their ideas, and I'm hoping that next time, say for instance Far Cry 6, they don't make the same mistakes, because it's hurting the community, and a lot of us, do you know what I mean? A lot of us are just like, like Johnny2 Fingerz video, for starters. Do you know what I mean? He's not the only one who feels like that. Do you know what I mean?
It's a lot of us.
Yeah, and it's like you've given, Ubisoft have given us a really good creative platform, and they're giving us these tools, you know what I mean, to create these things where no other game does that. Do you know what I mean? And then it's almost like they're trying to take it away. It's like taking away a lollipop from a baby. Do you know what I mean? It really is. Do you know? Like, I'm that passionate about it. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. And the other thing is, well, I'm not 100% sure whether the Ubisoft dev team actually did their research. Do you know what I mean? Because if they knew about Far Cry 2, if they really did their research about Far Cry 2 and how the multiplayer worked, do you know what I mean? They would definitely have integrated that into the new system. Now, I'm all for change. I'm not saying that I don't want change, but, certain little tweaks, I'll be happy with, no question. But why take something, that was actually at the top of its game, even though the controls were clunky, even though the graphics weren't all that, people loved building maps and people loved hosting their own maps. Do you know what I mean? And it was a great system for its time, just needed tweaking. Possibly.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
Why take something away that worked great, right?
So let's fingers crossed and hope they have something cool this time. With all that being said, we're gonna have to close this out. It's been a bit of a long podcast. We don't know when the next podcast is coming. Well, actually, we do know when the next podcast is coming. It'll be sometime in January, hopefully. We don't know what we're going to put out there. We're hoping for more content to come out, so that we could talk about it.
Maybe we have another map jam to talk about,
Yeah,
that's correct.
Or information from the, community devs or something that they, new trailer or something.
Right. So I'm going to close this. Now by well, Lazy Mapper, do you want to say what you need to say again and just let people know your channels and so forth?
No, if you haven't, checked out my channel, hopefully I'll be covering probably 5 tutorials and maps and, get everybody together and have a good time and hopefully see some very creative maps out there.
Yep, that's for sure. thanks to Slim Reaper as well too for being a great guest. I'm sure you'll hear more of him in the future. He's definitely part of the team for sure. So Slim Reaper will be joining us for more podcasts. Unfortunately, Fallen Champ couldn't join us. You know, he has a few other things to sort out, but I'm hoping that he joins us again, you know, for a later podcast in the new year or so. And with myself, for those who've just tuned in or for those who don't know, I am on YouTube, Twitter and Twitch, obviously, with the same name, Kemet1976. And I will have some more videos, tribute videos coming out soon. The 2 tribute videos that came out did really well. I'm pleased with that. I got a lot of positive feedback from that. As Lazy Mapper has said, he's got some more videos coming soon. And we'll just keep creating content for you guys. It's as simple as that. More podcasts and more on Far Cry 5. When that comes out, you will be inundated with a lot of content. I guarantee you that. With that being said, we're all out. Thank you very much for joining. And take it easy, everyone.
Yep.